What's up, mobile gamers? It's Johns or Gigs, back with another tier list for you. I've been doing these pretty much at the end of the season because I think that's the best time to do it since mid-season usually has huge changes and the start of the season usually isn't too bad. You might see a few nerfs like Lacia, but overall I think we're going to be okay, especially with the Vanguards. They haven't really been changing much for the updates and seasons and stuff like that, except for like when we actually got the heroes. So I did record this already. So if it seems a little weird, because for me, I'm saying it like the third time because for some reason it keeps crashing. But overall, it's going to be pretty easy to rank these guys. It's going to hopefully be a little shorter than the last few videos. And we're pretty much just going to get right into it. I really like that all of the heroes that are getting second ultimates have second ultimates that change their play style. And I think that's the best example here is Jabali. So we're going to kind of use second ultimates in the things that I'm saying, just because my rankings are going to be based on that, but also on like just the regular average player picking up the hero and like how are they going to do? How is this hero going to perform for the average player picking him up? And I think Jabali's S tier, I think it's pretty clear that his shield is going to soak up a lot more damage. And having that second ultimate gives him another playstyle. So it has a little bit of layers to it. So we're going to kind of include the second ultimates when we talk about them. And I want to also highlight the fact that he kind of has two different playstyles. If you want, you can be super aggressive with him and the first ultimate just because it does more damage and it moves around more. And I think that with his second ultimate, you can be more defensive, stay on the control point, and stay on the payload. That's going to be a lot easier for you to do just because of how much damage he soaks up and how close range he is. But I think he can work. You guys have seen my videos where Jabali will literally chase me throughout the entire map because he just wants to kill me, I guess. But it's pretty funny when that happens because we usually take the point because he's doing that. So let me know what you guys think, if you want me to include second ultimates or not. Obviously, since I'm going to, you might have different opinions if you're like, okay, well, the average player can't grind 90 wins. That's completely fair. And I know most people aren't going to spend $15 on a second ultimate. I don't think any of the ultimates are worth $15, that's for sure. And I don't have the money anyway. So got to grind them, show you guys the content. And I think Jabali's is one a lot of people are going to like, and they're going to see it as an extension of the best parts of his kit. So that doesn't mean the first one's bad or anything like that. It's just I prefer the defensive one. I think it fits better with his kit. But if you guys want to be aggressive, he's got that second ultimate that spins him around. He does a lot of damage, and it can really surprise your enemies, and you can take advantage of that. Whereas the second ultimate just kind of reflects damage and takes all that damage and gives it back to the people you're getting shot by. So it's very defensive. Overall, I really enjoy it. I think he's a perfect S tier, but I don't like him. So I know a lot of you guys are like, you're going to put him in C tier. Well, I got to be objective. I don't like Jabali, but I can tell you he's king. He's the best at soaking up damage, and I think he's going to be the best Vanguard for you guys in the game. And you get him relatively fairly on. Obviously, you can choose who to unlock with your hero cards. But, it's a pretty easy choice, Jabali. If you want to get one with your hero cards, I would suggest trying them out with the hero try period, where like Chemist and so it gives one of each class. So a Vanguard, maybe a healer like Chemist, a damage dealer like Gloria, and then a flanker like Ya or something. And so you can try one out. I think it resets every week, if I'm not mistaken. So every week you get to try out new heroes, and I would kind of wait and try them all out before you decide who you're going to get. But Jabali's an easy pick, and I think it's clear that he's S tier for most people. So next one we're going to talk about is going to be Ruby. A lot of people are saying she's bad. which is crazy because I don't see it that way. Um, the stun is insane. If she didn't have the stun, she'd probably be B. I won't lie to you. I mean, the range isn't very good, but it's decent on her gun or her cards. You know, when she throws her cards, the range is close range, so it's good close range, not very good medium range, and you have no long range option. Even the stun doesn't go too far. It's not like super long range, but for the most part, you're gonna not really be using it in that long range. You're gonna be using it into like a short to mid range where you can actually take advantage of the fact that it stuns people and use that to kill them. So unless you have a team that's really like on point where you stun somebody and the whole team's going to focus on them, she's really useful with comms. Her shields move, which is really nice. I know a lot of people are like they don't like that because if you don't use them right, then you don't actually cover the whole objective, which is kind of like user error type things. So I like the shields. I think they're good. A lot of people would say they're not, but I mean, think about it this way. If you're going to take a point, you can put it on the start of the point, and if you're pushing with your shields, the enemy's going to have to back up. And if they destroy one of them, you can just play the other. So you have three different areas you can play. So it really gives you a lot of flexibility in the shield game. Whereas somebody like Jabali, you literally have to hold up his shield, and then you have to turn it off and shoot if you want to. So you can definitely surprise people with it, but not in the same way you can with Ruby and her stun. Once she gets her second ultimate, it's going to be crazy. I think she's going to get a good one. Um, Anything's better than her ultimate because it takes so long to charge. It's probably the longest ultimate in the game. You can let me know down in the comments if it is. It takes forever. If you have a game that's like 4 minutes long, you might not even get to use it. That's how long it takes. And the damage is not good against shields, so most of the time, even if all the little bullets land on the Jabali shield, I don't think it breaks it. So that's probably how I would say she kind of ranks as A. She doesn't have what she needs to be S tier, even if she got a really good second ultimate. I think her range is too limited, and the shield is somewhat easier to play around than Jabali's. Um, So she's going to stay in A tier. I really don't think that she's outclassed by anybody on this list except for Jabali because he has the ability to just soak up so much damage. So much damage. And with his second ultimate, it's even more. So he just kind of sticks himself up there. And I think Ruby's a close second. She's really good. A lot of people are undervaluing her because they want long range. And I can totally understand that, especially with the meta that's going on right now. Lots of Daemons and Osasas and Lasias and all that. So it totally makes sense. And if you're looking for long range, I think you're going to go with Fort. Fort's the best long range tank. He has decent travel time with his projectiles. So his little orbs do travel decently fast. And when you hit somebody, they will stick to them. So a lot of the times you'll actually see a fort will like shoot, right? And maybe three of them hit the target, and then he, goes back to his buddies, retreats so he can heal up or take some cover or whatever, and it'll actually still do damage to everybody around, including the person you hit. So you get sometimes some cheeky kills, right? Where all five hit, he runs away, and you end up killing somebody who was also low health in that vicinity. So it's really nice a lot of the times to have that damage on fort and to have the ability to shoot far away. But his shield is very easy to play around for the enemy. It sits still. It doesn't cover a lot of area. It's only one direction, right? It's just one area that you're able to stop damage from. So you're not going to be able to play around it as easily as you would a Ruby or a Jabali. You're going to have to be smart with your shield, otherwise it's not really useful. He does have his second tactical, which is kind of nice. It does stop status effects, so Ruby wouldn't be able to stun him if it's out. But overall, I think most of the time, most people don't even use it. And if they do, they use it at the wrong time. So it's kind of hit or miss. His second ultimate's really good now. It silences people. I think that's what brought him into A tier, honestly. That buffed his ammo capacity, so he shoots a fifth shot, along with an ultimate that silences and makes it so you can't shoot, is really strong. I think you're going to see him in A tier now and see him a lot more because of that versatility and that long range tank. He can set that shield down. I think it blocks like 3 fully charged OSAS shots. Not really fully sure on that. If I'm wrong, let me know. It's somewhere around two, 3, or 4. But you can basically block somebody and shoot them, and even if you don't hit them, it will at least move them out of their area. Even if they're like right hand peeking, you can hit that wall next to them, and they'll do splash damage. So he can kind of force people out of areas. He's a lot more utility driven, lots more damage now from that fifth shot, and I'm really glad to see it. I hope you see where these guys are at, and you're like me, and you're like, okay, we need to buff the rest of these guys so that they're at that level. I've always been the type of person who's like, just buff the people that aren't that good up to the level of all these other heroes that are crazy, crazy good. I don't like nerfs. Really don't like nerfs. Even if the next season's super hype, I'm probably not going to be very excited for it if there's a bunch of nerfs. Besides Lacia, you'll see that she's going to be nerfed for sure. But hopefully nobody else gets crazy nerfs, especially with the quality of life improvements that a lot of these heroes need. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but we are going to go ahead and do one last A tier. And this might surprise everybody. It's Fade, man. Fade, he's crazy good. He's so underrated. Probably more underrated than Ruby, even though I'd say he's not as good. The dash goes through all shields. You can dash, it'll take away Jabali's shield, Ono's shield. You can't really stop him unless you have a silence, which is kind of more common. But you're also going to see that the flankers that try to take out your healer, you can just turn around and dash them and slam them into a wall and they're dead. Literally hit them, then they hit the wall, then you hit them with a cannonball and they're dead, like 3 seconds ish. So he's very strong. His shield is omnidirectional, right? So it covers every angle that the enemy can possibly think of. It could use a little more health. I will give you guys that. I'll acknowledge he probably needs a little bit more health for his shield, but overall, his ultimate is very strong as well. I'm not really sure what they're going to do for his second one. I think his second ultimate is going to be crazy good, and it's going to solidify that A tier for him, just like it did with Fort. But if his second ultimate's good, it's going to be even better because his first ultimate is crazy good. You can go through shields, so if you hit the Jabali with your second ultimate, it'll suck him up into the void or wherever it puts him, and you can spit him out. And whoever you spit out, you're going to spit him out right into your back line, and all your damage dealers will be like, oh my god, free food. And boom, all the food's gone. They just ate the whole turkey or whatever you want to call it. So very, very strong. The dash, you can interrupt it, but for the most part, no one's going to be running any counters to it. And it's not really worthwhile. Most people will try to dodge out of the way rather than counter it. So I really like his kit where he is right now. I don't think he needs any quality of life changes like the last 3. I would like to see the shield with a bit more health just to keep him competitive with the other tanks and how much damage they can take. But overall, I think it's pretty good. If you want to put him B, you can. I say this every tier list, you guys. Play whoever you have fun with. Play whoever you want. It doesn't matter to me. All these heroes are really good. And except for the C tier heroes, whatever, whoever I put in C tier on any of my tier lists, for the most part, you can play whoever you want, especially in casual. The only time I'd be really worried about it is if you're going into ranked and you don't play the C tier heroes that I have in C tier enough, maybe you might struggle. But for the most part, play whoever you have fun with. These tiers aren't really that different. A is not that different from S. The only time is like B is not competing with S, C is not competing with A. That's the only thing I will say for the tiers. So like Jabali, Ruby, Fort, Fade, they're all really good picks. And you're not going to be upset if you play them. They're very good. And, I think all the Vanguards, all the heroes, honestly, are just in a really balanced and good spot. Most heroes that are in the C tier for this video and later videos, they just need like a small adjustment and they'd be good. Like that's all they need, a little small touch up for their quality of life, and you'll see them in a higher tier because the the gaps aren't that crazy. I don't think that a lot of people think that it's unbalanced. I don't know. I mean, let me know in the comments if you think it's a good balanced roster because I definitely do. I think most people are like, yeah, T3 is a pretty balanced game. It's very free to play friendly, except for Lacia, which they're addressing. So overall, I think it's a pretty good spot for all these Vanguards. And this is where it gets sad because I wouldn't drop Fade to B, but you can if you want, like I said. Um, this is more just for fun, honestly. Like, I am being objective when I say this because honestly, I hate Jabali. You guys know I hate Jabali. I probably would have him in C if I could, but he's just too good. So, being objective, right? Zero Kelvin. They should change it to zero Kelvin, but with a C, because that's where he's at right now. His abilities are kind of wonky. Um, Same for the other two that are left. The snowball never really goes where you want it to, and it will like hit stuff and like turn to dust for some reason. Like right away, it'll just like graze a wall, and you're out a snowball, and that's his main part of his kit. So the the biggest way to do damage with zero Kelvin is actually to get rid of your biggest defensive part of your kit. The snowman is glitched out. It really sucks because when he turns into a snowman, right, and he heals up, first off, it doesn't even heal you all the way. That sucks. That's stupid. It should at least full heal you if you're going to sit there for that long. And the person who's shooting is just going to wait. They're literally just going to be like, okay. Oh, you're back up and shoot. Boom. Like you're dead. So for the most part, it's very difficult because, especially if you're trying to run from a sniper, they're going to see you go into snowball form, line up that headshot, and the second you get out of snowball form, bam, you're dead. Like Osas headshot you, and there's nothing you can do. So I'd like to see it full heal. That would be nice. And then also, you can't keep the control point or push the payload on it. So if you have overtime, you're going to lose the game for your team by turning into a snowman unless you have another teammate. So, I mean, it sucks because I wish he was in a good spot because he doesn't have any good range, just like Ruby, but he's missing all the good stuff that Ruby has. The snowball doesn't stun, doesn't do a ton of damage, and the snowman doesn't keep the point. That's the main objective for the tank. Even these dive tanks is to secure the point. That's what you have to do in those objective game modes. And his snowman does not take the point. If you snowman while on defense for payload escort, it will go right by you. If you do it while you're pushing the payload, it'll stop pushing the payload. And it sucks. He needs some quality of life changes to bring him up into B. And I think if they changed all those things on him, um, maybe like when you hit the snowball, at least behind a small snowball that still heals you or something. I don't know. There's a lot they could do for quality of life changes, or maybe they could have his ultimate like seek one person, like how Chemist is. Like you hit them and it heals them, and maybe zero Kelvin, you shoot your ultimate, and whoever you're looking at is the one that the snowballs damage, and they all bounce around and then take converging paths onto that hero. So I think that would be a good way to change him. I think that quality of life change would be nice, but he's probably the only one that you're going to see where he just kind of falls short compared to the other heroes. Now, Victor, he's in B, and he's not competing with Jabali, but he's not that far off from A or C tier. He's kind of average, kind of in the middle of the pack. He's kind of good at most stuff, but not. He's not special enough to have the stun that Ruby has, the damage that Fort has, the counter playability that Fade has, or the damage soak up ability, right, that Jabali has. He doesn't have that much health and shield. Um, he's close range like Ruby. He can get in close like Fade. He can use the damage mitigation similar to Jabali, and it does give him back his ultimate. I'll give it that. Not sure on the 8 ultimates, like which ones they are. So if you're looking at it, um, he used to have a second ultimate. It was insane. It was the best ult in the game. Then they nerfed it. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. If he gets his second ultimate, he could potentially move into A tier with Fade. Or you say, oh, that's not enough to move him. If he gets his second ultimate back, it's not that good. Then maybe you bring Fade to the top of B, and that's where you set them. But I think they're pretty close together because they're both very similar. And if they don't nerf his second ultimate and the shotgun spin gives him back the ult quicker for both ultimates, I think he's going to be an A because he's missing that damage, and I think that quality of life change that he needs is honestly better hitboxes on his dashes. I can't tell you how many times there's somebody standing right in front of me. I dash them and they take no damage. It does like 2,500 damage or something crazy. It does a decent chunk of damage that you should be able to see on most heroes, and I've most of the time I'm according to them missing it, and there's no way you're gonna tell me it's like it had such a good hitbox back when you would stun, like you dash and barely hit somebody. It wouldn't even look like you hit them, and they'd still get stunned. And when they removed the stun, they must have messed with the hitbox because his dashes they don't track at all because it's just one straight line, right? But when you dash, it doesn't seem like he has a big enough hitbox on it to actually catch anybody that he hits. So if they change that and his second ultimate comes back, I think it'll be pretty good for the game. And maybe bump him into A tier if they change his dash and give it a better hitbox. And then if they give him better quality of life on his ultimate, make it good where it's actually useful. Because when they nerfed it before, it basically became unusable. Because all you'd do is you'd run around, but it doesn't do enough damage. So you just kind of run around for fun, I guess, because it doesn't do anything. So hopefully they revert it a little bit. Obviously, I would take one dash that stuns over 2 dashes that don't. Not sure how you guys feel about that. Let me know, right? Is the next hero going to be a Vanguard hero? Because 3 of our heroes have been Battle Pass heroes, including Ono. And you can see that he is, the last one we got. So we've had 3 Battle Pass heroes that have all been Vanguards. So I'm wondering if they're going to do like Vanguard and then another hero from a different class, and then Vanguard and then another hero from a different class. We'll kind of see how that goes because that seems like the pattern, I guess, a little bit, except for like Johnny and then Hua Ling. So maybe we get a flanker. We did just get a healer, so and Damon was a damage dealer. So not really sure how that's going to go. Ono is another crazy case. He needs that quality of life just like Victor and Kelvin. And he's kind of an off tank. He's not very useful when you're actually looking at it compared to the other Vanguard heroes. We'll move this over here. He needs an A tier tank to be good, and even B and C tier. Like if Zero Kelvin or Victor's on your team, you can play Ono and he will still do really, really good. But when he's on his own, he has no way of soaking up damage. He has the really slow fire rate, which makes him difficult to actually use because half the time most of the heroes in the game move too fast. So you're not hitting any of his shots. And his first ult's garbage. It's literally horrible. It might be the worst ult in the game. Not even going to hold you on that one. But his second ultimate's nice. Again, he suffers from his slowness. Once he activates his second ult, all you have to do is walk out. It's not that big. It will kill you. Like if you mess up and go the wrong way or there's a wall in your way or something. So he does have that surprise potential, especially if everybody's focusing on other stuff and they don't see you. But if you are fighting somebody, they activate your second ult, they're just going to turn around and leave. Unless they're a flanker and they're right on you and they're still fast enough to get away, most are not going to die. And if you have a shield up, you'll still be at like 1 HP as like a fort or a Jabali or whatever. So it is nice. I wish it was faster. And the main gripe I have is actually his tactical, where he like does that arcing sword thing, and it's terrible. It doesn't hit anything ever. I don't know what the hell the hitbox is on it. It's garbage. It sucks. They need to fix it. If they fixed the quality of life on these three bottom heroes, you'd see all the Vanguards at A and Jabali at S pretty much. I guess if you were like, okay, well, Ono, Victor, Kelvin, and Fade are all dive Vanguard, so you have to put one in S, then I guess you could do that. But for the most part, you're going to look at these heroes and be like, okay, they're pretty balanced. And Ono needs that little bit to get him at the level of all these other Vanguards that he needs for quality of life, for usability. And it sucks because I think he could be really fun, really cool. His shield is nice. I didn't actually talk about that. The main way that he can soak up damage is his shield. So his shield, I think, should actually be different than it is. So right now it just gives the same amount of health to each person. It's really nice to use on a flanker, but I think it should either give him more since he's the Vanguard, or maybe it does like instead of 6,000, 6,000, it's like 3,500 to 4,000 for the whoever you put it on, and then also bump his up to like 8,000 or 9,000 because he really needs more HP because of how slow he is, even though he has that range. And they need a quality of life change because basically, in order to put it on somebody, you have to get out of your role as the tank. You have to turn around and look at somebody, and by that time, you're probably going to die, especially with the meta that we have. So I wish it would like arc to the closest person if there's nobody in front of you or in your field of vision or whatever. It should just arc to the closest person. If there's somebody behind you, like your healer, it should go to them if you're not looking at anybody in like a radius. Not a radius, but like maybe it like has a triple crosshair. So he has his regular crosshair, right? And then there's like a field of vision type thing, like Iris's second ultimate, where if you are looking in this area, this is the hero it'll go to, right? And if there's no one in that area, it goes to the closest ally or something like that. Because when you have to turn around to put a shield on somebody else, you're going to kill yourself. And most of the time, it's not useful to use his tactical to shield just yourself. It just doesn't do enough. So that's my thoughts on like what I think they should change and how they should change it. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, it's more just for fun. I like while it is objective, I'm not being opinionated on these things. It doesn't really matter where I put them. You can put these guys in any order you want and play whoever you want. I would only suggest that you pick somebody in each role, and that's who you focus on for ranked. If you're going to play ranked and your team needs a Vanguard, you pick with who you pick Jabali, who you're comfortable with, or you pick Victor, who you're comfortable with. That's what I would do. I would try all of them with the hero tryout mode and pick one from each role that you're comfortable with so that you have somebody you can kind of rely on if your team needs a Vanguard, you know who to pick, or if your team needs a healer, you know who you like to play. So I would do that, even though it doesn't really matter too much unless you're like superstar level. Then I would be like, okay, well, you should probably play Jabali. Straight up, just play Jabali. Those are my thoughts on it. Not sure what you guys think. I don't know how hot some of these takes are. Zero Kelvin's just bad. I like him. I love him. You guys have seen my first video ever was a conspiracy theory on Zero Kelvin. I really like him. He's so much fun, but he's bad. he's bad. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably the hottest take here is Fort Ruby Fade. Probably gonna maybe make some people upset, but overall, I really want to know your guys' opinions on everything and like where you think everybody's at, because it's kind of tough to make differentiations between tiers, like between A and B, is not so much of a difference that I really care about it, you know? So let me know that. And then also, who do you guys think is going to be the next seasonal hero, right, for the Battle Pass? Probably going to end all my videos like this, but do you guys think it's going to be a Vanguard for the Battle Pass? Let me know, because I'm thinking it definitely has a chance to be a Vanguard for Super Season 4. So look out for that. It's coming in like 2 weeks from dropping this video, so that's going to be awesome. So we will see you in the next one.